everyone. It is Wednesday evening, February 23rd, and there's a lot going on in the weather map today, especially out west and in Oklahoma, down south, Oklahoma, Texas. There's a city in Texas that went down to 2 degrees, breaking a record. In fact, earlier today, the temperatures ranged, temperatures ranged from 5 degrees to 75 degrees in Texas, a 70-degree range in just one state. Yesterday, we had our first real indicator that the sun is getting much stronger this time of the year as the temperature rose to 100 degrees in Falcon Lake, Texas. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff over there. Temperatures went down to 20 and 25 below zero up in the upper Midwest. Temperatures are about 40 degrees below normal up in that area. Temperatures are about 40 degrees above normal when you get to the East Coast. The weather map this evening shows an area of a lot of energy taking place over in the desert Southwest. But the real moisture is taking place here in the southern Midwest and the South Central states. They're not combined right now. That energy remains out in the Southwest with limited moisture, although it's still producing 1 or 2 feet of snow over in the mountains. Colorado received around a foot of snow, and temperatures also were bitterly cold in Denver as they fell well below zero, breaking a record over there. The first wave of low pressure earlier this week, which produced very heavy snow in Wisconsin, produced 30-inch snow totals in parts of Michigan and Wisconsin. That wave is moving off to the northeast. We have our next storm system, which will be developing tomorrow. Here in the Chicago area, winds are going to be off the lake tonight, so there could be some flurries or possibly even some light lake effect snow tonight and early tomorrow morning. Peaks of sun may reach our area tomorrow morning for areas away from the lake, but then the clouds take over really for the rest of the day as this low pressure system comes. It's taking an awesome track, a much more impressive track than what is forecasted to happen over here. This low pressure is dipping down southeast from the southwest desert area, going all the way south of Texas, and then coming up right through the Gulf of Mexico, moving northeast into the Tennessee Valley, and eventually into the Ohio Valley. The low pressure system is usually this would be considered a little bit too far south to bring its precipitation up here into the Chicago area, but its precipitation shield is going way north of the center of the low pressure, and there's snow that will probably be falling even in much of Wisconsin again for tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. This snow could be expected to fall in the Chicago area probably 2 or 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon and remain steady for a solid 12-hour period. Snowfall totals are not expected to be anything too impressive, about 2 to 6 inches of snow, but there could be some lakeside counties that do receive 8 inches of snow. That's again the lake effect, the lake enhancement. Winds will be right off of the lake, and at that point it's going to be a super powdery snow, a fluffy snow that piles up quickly. So there could be a couple counties, maybe a very small portion of the area that will probably, I think, would see about 8 inches of snow, but anywhere between 6 and 8 inches. Most of the area, probably 2 to 4 inches, but to cover generally, the National Weather Service says 2 to 5 inches. AccuWeather saying 3 to 6. Meteorologist Tom Skilling is saying 2 to 6 with isolated spots of 8 inches along the lakeside counties. The amount of moisture available with the system, from what I saw on one of the computer models, is nearly 0.2 of an inch. So that would produce 2 inches. But the snow to water ratio would be 15 to 1. That means it would be producing 3 inches of snow from the main system. That's what I saw in the models that I looked at. 3 inches of snow for the Chicago area. That's what I would think would be happening. But with the lake effect snow, we'll see additional snow for the lakeside counties, possibly even a little bit more, even at O'Hare Airport, and a little bit more at Midway than O'Hare. So we could see 5 or even 6 inches. And again, there could be that isolated spot that does receive around 8 inches. The barometric pressure is nothing to the intensity of the low pressure, isn't anything too impressive. Barometric pressure of 29.9. Eventually, it is going to turn into a very intense storm as it moves off into the upper North Atlantic, developing, even going under 29.0. But that's a while from now. We have out in the in Japan. In Japan, we have feet of snow that have been falling about a foot every day. A foot yesterday, a foot today, a foot tomorrow. They're mamish being bombarded with snow over there. Some of those cities, 36 inches, 40-some inches. Really, it's a ton of snow. And we also have the big story for this country is the ice storm that is taking place over this Arkansas with lightning. And this is cloud to ground lightning. You could see the pictures. It's really magnificent stuff, but dangerous stuff with sleet, snow, lightning with the sleet. It's not too common for that to happen, but portions of that ice storm will be moving into portions of southeast Missouri, generally along and south of Interstate 70 is going to be a splitter between the frozen precipitation and the liquid precipitation, especially when you get into the Illinois eastward, and we might see some more significant ice accumulations over in southern Ohio up into Pennsylvania. Major snowfall is expected for the Northeast, 6 to 12 inches for some areas. We even have some spots of 12 to 18 inches. I got that from AccuWeather. I do not know much information about the situation up there. One thing to point out is something that the South Bend National Weather Service mentioned in their forecast discussion. Very interesting. They say that the convective activity, which means the thunderstorm activity in Kentucky and Tennessee, is going to be a crucial variable in determining the snowfall accumulations for northern Indiana and probably Chicago as well. If thunderstorms do develop in Tennessee or Kentucky, the amount of moisture available north of those storms is going to decrease. There will be less moisture. The atmosphere will be less saturated if those thunderstorms develop. So depending on the number of storms that develop in that area, that may lower the snowfall accumulations here in our area. So those are the two wild cards. There are wild cards, it's the lake effect snow. How much will there be? And which is always a wild card, but nothing that significant. And those thunderstorms, which happen on the southeast portion of these storm systems, that's also another wild card. To leave off on a good note, after this storm comes in the Arctic air. That's not the good note. But following this Arctic air, we have mild Pacific air moving in for the weekend. And the next week, there are indicators that temperatures may go up into the 50s and even the 60s with a series of storm systems developing after this really warm air, which will be here a week from this weekend. But even by the end of this weekend, we're already going to start to see a push of mild air into our area. Thank you for listening. I wish everyone a great night. If I had a niggin, I would play it. Everyone stay safe. One more thing worth mentioning is the avalanche warning that's in effect. Avalanche is probably the most dangerous thing. It's in effect for portions of the West, so people might want to be careful out there.